Welcome to the C-Suite series presented by Channel Check and Noble Capital Markets. Noble's an SEC-registered, FINRA-licensed broker-dealer and the source of the equity research available on Channel Check. Today's interview features Eskay Mining, OTCQX ticker symbol ESKYF, TSX-V ticker symbol ESK. Noble Senior Research Analyst Mark Reichman interviews Eskay President and CEO Mac Balkam. Visit channelcheck.com or click the link in the description to access equity research, news, and advanced market data on Eskay Mining, all at no cost. And now, here's Mark and Mac.
Hi Mac, it is great to see you.
Nice seeing you, Mark. Thanks for talking to us.
Mac, let's begin with what Eskay Mining does and a brief summary of the company's project.
Certainly. Eskay Mining is a Canadian junior listed and US QX listed junior exploration company exploring in what we call the Golden Triangle of northwestern British Columbia. We have a project that it hosts probably one of the richest gold mines ever in the world that was owned by Barrick Gold until they sold it to another company a few years ago.
What are the project's inherent advantages?
The inherent advantage is just I mentioned, A, it's in Canada, B, it's in an area that's probably the most metal endowed area probably in the world in one area. We have 526 square kilometers up there, or 230 square miles, and we surround this mine that I mentioned called Eskay Creek, which Barrick Gold, one of the world's biggest gold companies, held until 2008. They ran it for about 13, 14 years, and the grade was just over the top, and it was so profitable back when gold was much less. So today, gold is much higher, and our search is for that type of mine.
Now, what are your goals for this project?
The goals in total are to develop what we call Eskay Mine 2, 3, 4. I can go over what the Eskay 1 was worth that Barrick had to give people an example of why we're in this search and what our goals are really.
And I think it's also important to mention that you really have all of the unexploited land around that surrounds that Eskay Creek mine, and the land package covers roughly 85% of the Eskay Trough. So what do you think the significance of that is?
Well, if you look at the valuation of what Eskay Creek was in the past, I've been told that if you were to find an Eskay-2, I call it Eskay-2, it would be worth, say, 4 to 6 billion Canadian net present value. Now, these volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits are much different than the mainstream low-grade deposit which most companies are working on today. The Eskay Creek mine was about 700 meters long by 250 meters wide and 20 to 40 meters thick. And that hosted all of the metals of very, very high grade. So our goal is to find another one of those. As I said, I'm told today that would be worth $4 to $6 billion Canadian net present value. So that has to be our goal, which is finding 1, 2, or 3. Now, why would we think we have it in that 85% of the ground? The VMS deposits, volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits, occur on the seafloor 180 million years ago in this case. And in all of the areas in the planet where VMS deposits occur, the studies show that they occur in clusters. So these volcanoes come up to the seafloor, deposit the sulfides, and then over time you've got receding oceans, mountain building, tectonic plates coming together, and then we have to go and look for, first of all, a VMS signature, and then we have to drill it. So our ground, if you will, go back to the VMS, in that area of VMS targets, usually they occur in a cluster of 5 or 6 within a 32 to 35 kilometer oval shaped situation. So in our view, Eskay Creek appears to have been at the top of that oval. And today we own all the ground pretty well that would control the rest of those potential clusters. So our goal is to find Eskay 2, 3, 4 and exploit that valuation.
And what does your team bring to the table, and what is your edge?
Our team brings to the table, first of all, we have a board of directors that built the company. Myself, I was a stockbroker for a number of years. I retired and got into this type of business unexpectedly. Rob Myhill, my VP Finance, is a chartered accountant, MBA, who cut his teeth, if you will, on putting together all kinds of projects, not mining projects, but business deals, merging, acquisitions, that kind of thing. And then our other director, initially Gordon McMahon, is a lawyer who runs a real estate investment trust, private real estate investment trust. So we were the business side, and then since we've added Dr. Quentin Henning, who was a PhD from the Colorado School of Mines and well known in the mining sector, and Tom Weiss, who was actually a friend of Quentin back in the day when they worked at Newmont Mining. He was a geophysicist. So that is our basic team that leads this. Quentin and Tom lead the geology, and Rob and I and Gord lead the business side. Quentin then brought in a gentleman by the name of Dr. Thomas Monarchy, who is a professor at Colorado School of Mines, who taught a number of young geologists and indeed led their doctorate programs at Colorado School of Mines. He led us to Dr. John DeDecker, who came to work with us in October of 2019, as did Quentin in the summer of 2019. And they have put together another team with 3 other PhDs from Colorado School of Mines with different disciplines, and several master's degree students from Canada and the United States. And they are the lead on finding these VMS targets. So we have 2 sides. We have the business side and we have the geologic side. And we think the geologic side is second to none within the junior space.
Well, it does sound like you have a very strong technical team with expertise in VMS deposits. So to date, what has Eskay accomplished and what work remains?
We started this really journey of full exploration in 2020. We had been involved for a number of years and we never kind of got it together. We just plodded along. And when Quentin came on board, brought this team together, the first year we raised about $5 million and did a really good program. We did a lot of geophysics. We ended up doing some drilling, 4,500 meters of drilling. And indeed, that year we found the first VMS area that we were going to work on called Jeff and TV. That led us enough to 2021. We raised about $15 million in the market, a little more. And we did 24,500 meters of drilling. We did a lot of work more on Jeff TV. We drilled at Vermilion. We drilled at C10 and a couple other spots. I mean, we have several of these areas, maybe 15 areas that we know are volcanogenic massive sulfide. So we're kind of, when we're doing some of this drilling, we're kind of trying to scope out what is under the ground. It appears to be VMS at the top. We have to figure out what it is below. So the geophysics, the field work, the mapping, all of that goes into one. And then the truth machine is the drill. It goes in and tells us how the rocks are lying, if we're right or wrong. And then, of course, we take that rock, they cut it in half and crush it and send it to a lab to tell us exactly how much gold and silver and base metals is in the rock. So that's kind of what we do.
And what gives you confidence that the project will be successful?
So far, all of our work that we've had, and even indeed previous work that was done on this project back to the 1990s, There are showings and areas that have this VMS, but it's never been fully explored and I don't think fully thought out. So this team we have is going to explore these different areas thoroughly and lead us to SK2, 3, and 4, we believe.
Well, could you just summarize real quickly, what you've learned from your drilling in 2021 and 2022 and how that informs your plans for 2023?
Again, in 2020, when we started, we did this massive geophysical program called SkyTem, and we wanted to test a lot of these targets. If I went back to Eskay Creek, when they were drilling Eskay Creek, they were drilling a zone called the 21A zone, which indeed another company, Skeena Resources, has today. At that time, gold was under $300. This is 1988. Gold was under $300, and there was no road into this area. There was no hydropower, and virtually no infrastructure. So they knew they had to come up with something really big to make this work. And getting to the end of their money, they decided to drill a geophysical target called a chargeability target, about 150 meters, 175 meters kind of northeast of where they had been drilling all this time. And the rest turns out to be history because they drilled that target and eventually drilled a hole 109, which is probably one of the most famous drill holes in Canadian mining history, maybe in the world in terms of VMS. And that hole was about 200 meters long, and it graded almost 1 ounce of gold per ton when you include the silver and the base metal content. So it was massive, and that led to a major staking rush where a lot of people staked ground, which now we own, and they started working on it. And the work continued for years, and then of course the gold market fell apart in the late 90s and well into, I don't know, 204, 205, before gold really started to be of interest again and these people could raise money. So that's kind of the story of Eskay Creek, and then I've already said what it could be worth for us to duplicate. So our work then in 2022, we drilled about 24,000 meters, as I said. It enhanced our view of the TV and the Jeff area, and we drilled these other targets. Now in 22, we drilled 29,500 meters, and we enhanced the TV. We figured out the Jeff, but we had also come up with other targets, other VMS targets called the Scarlet area, which is northeast of where we're drilling now, on the same trend, and just 7 kilometers due east of the original mine. The rock in that whole valley is volcanogenic massive sulfide, and it has the same geochemistry, according to our geologist, as the original mine. So it's like an investigation. We're trying to find, first of all, VMS areas, and secondly, we've got to kind of do the surface work to see how we're going to drill this, how we're going to attack it, and thirdly, we drill it. And that gives us a view of whether we're successful or not. It's kind of the three things you do. And we have, as I said to you, we're looking for these 4 or 5 extra clusters or zones, and the project is so big that it's a ton of work and a ton of science to kind of lead the team's success. So this year, we believe we will be successful. The proof will be in getting our assays back and telling us how metal rich these drill holes are.
And why is now the time to consider investing in Eskay Mining Corp?
First of all, because of the science that I've just told you about and the project we have that's so good. Now, if I look at the project today, there's a road into the old Eskay Creek mine, which is easily accessible. Another major company came in and put a hydro dam in basically just by our property. And so you have hydro power, you have a road. The main highway that goes up to the Yukon from Terrace, BC is a paved highway, beautiful highway, so you have access. So you got power, you got roads, and you got access, and you have a workforce available in Canada and locally with First Nations people that provide us with a lot of services. So if you consider what I said about what Eskay Creek 1 would be worth today, then our goal is lofty, but the targets, going out and finding these VMSs and drilling them, is tedious, expensive, and but very potentially lucrative.
What are some of the near-term catalysts or milestones that investors should be aware?
I think the milestones for this year will be, we've already announced what we've done. We outlaid the program. I mean, there's videos that you can see on our website and on YouTube with Dr. De Decker and Dr. Henney outlining our story. And then once these assays come, we will be able to see how successful we were, at least with these targets. I mean, remember, in the Scarlet area, we have Scarlet Ridge, which we drilled first this year, Scarlet Valley, which when you stand at the Scarlet Valley, you can look right over and see the old mine from there. And then Tarn Lake, they call it. So they've drilled a number of holes in each of these sites. A lot of it is to, yes, we'd like to have the discovery rate off, but a lot of it is to tell the stratigraphy. Which way are the rocks lying? What is the makeup of the rocks, the chemistry? That's the goal would be, to hit it right off. But sometimes you don't do that. So with all these targets we probably have maybe 10, 12, 14 known VMS areas.
So when do you expect to start releasing assay results?
I would say probably within the next 3 weeks. We've been getting some assays in, but we want to paint a picture. It doesn't do us any good to release single assays that pump the market for a day or so, and that's not our goal, because number one, we're not here for 10 seconds. We've been here a long time, and this project will stay a long time as well. So, if you add another goal, our goal ultimately would be to find 1 or 2 or 3 of these deposits or similar deposits, and then have a major come in as a partner, or indeed take the company over because they recognize what we have.
Mac, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for this C-Suite interview presentation brought to you by Channel Check. View our YouTube channel for more video content, including C-Suite interviews, virtual roadshows, and conference presentation replays. New content is added regularly, so subscribe below to stay up to date. Visit channelcheck.com or click the link in the description to access equity research, news, and advanced market data on this and the 6,000 other small and micro-cap companies listed.